Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone today? Enjoying the nice rain? And that's one good thing, no watering plants, and the humidity has at least dropped a little bit, I guess. So before we get started, Sally Brow, who is an officer of the Moravian Hall Square Resident Council, would like to make a few remarks before we start.
Sadly, we remember Hildegard Kurt, an active, vibrant member of our community. She was a bright, warm person who gave her talents to the resident council, Moravian Hall Square members, and especially to her many friends. Let us observe a moment of silence in her memory.
Thank you, Sally. We're going to start today with our chaplain, Tracy Robinson. He's going to do the invocation.
Thank you. So I have to be careful when I stand in the front of the building right here because they asked me for the offering plate. I'm like, that's a good idea. I hope everyone is nice and dry and comfortable. Take a breath in, take a breath out, relax, calm down everything. I'll stay here 15 minutes if you don't calm down. Uh-oh. So I'm going to use up my time then. Let us pray. Dear Creator and Sustainer, as we gather in this town hall meeting, we acknowledge your presence and your sovereignty over this community. We seek your wisdom as we address important matters and revive feedback from those we serve. May our discussions be characterized by respect and humility, fostering unity and cooperation. Help us to listen with open minds and hearts, to be attentive to the needs of the community, working together for the greater good. May this meeting be a reflection of your love as we care for all that you have entrusted to us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I usually say play ball.
Just want to make everyone aware, we have at the top of our slide that our next town hall meeting would be November 7th. About a couple minutes ago, we had to make a change to that date. It's actually going to be November the 14th. So if you could make note of that. There was a scheduling conflict, so we made an adjustment to the schedule now. So first off, we have Kara Hillenbrandt. She's here to talk about our resident satisfaction survey results that were taken a few months back, and she's here to share the results.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. So Mike has bribed us all with drinks after this if we can stay in our time frame. So I'll be short and sweet. But I did want to share the resident satisfaction survey results. Thank you. With you from back in the end of May, beginning of June, we did a resident satisfaction survey for both residential living here at the Moravian Hall Square campus and at Heritage Village. So our response rates, we had 54% response rate for Moravian Hall Square and a 47% response rate for Heritage Village, and this is why I print my slides out. So overall, we did very good. The survey was scored on a 1 to 5 scale. For all of you who saw it, it was good, very good, excellent. So a 4 was good and a 5 was excellent. That was the highest that we could do. Overall resident satisfaction. Okay, they're teasing us here. Overall resident satisfaction for the two campuses came out to a 4.36 out of 5. Satisfaction with amenities was a 4.38 out of 5, and satisfaction with services was a 4.47 out of 5. Engagement opportunities, which is our lovely community fun and engagement crew, was a 4.4 out of 5. So I gave you the average between both campuses. There really wasn't a significant difference between the scoring on either campus. So it was all within a 10th or a 100th of a point. As far as communication goes, and I did break this down by campus, Moravian Hall Square residential living, we had 63% rated our town hall meetings as good or excellent. And of note, that's okay, 12% said it was non-applicable, 88% rated our hall circular as good or excellent, and 59% rated the app as good or excellent. But I did want to point out that 33% of the residents on this campus said they still were not using the app. So I broke that down by Heritage Village because this is an area where you guys differ. 78% rated town hall meetings as good or excellent, with 6% saying not applicable, which is a little lower than Moravian Hall Square. 82% rated the hall circular as good or excellent. 11% of Heritage Village said they're not looking at the hall circular, but 91% rated the app as good or excellent, and only 1% said they're not using the app. So we're going to continue. We've had conversations on how we continue to communicate. We're going to continue with our current methods of both paper and using the app until we move forward with that. So overall, as I said, our survey results were very positive, but we do always look at areas of opportunity. So along with just the scoring, we get lots of comments. We have a team that meets. We go through all the comments, all the scores, and look at where were the consistent comments. Is there a comment trend or a theme or something we can look to address? So based on all of that, we came up with 3 areas of opportunity. The first is in regards to housekeeping with annual cleaning. So Matt and his team from housekeeping are going to be updating their checklist of annual cleaning and providing it to the residents once cleaning is complete, and they're going to be looking at their annual cleaning schedules. So that'll be coming forth. The next option will be fitness equipment at Moravian Hall Square. So, and this is actually something we were kind of aware of. Some of our equipment is getting a little older, out of date, not functioning. Okay, hello? All right, oh, there we go. Okay, at least we've got the mic. So we are going to be adding 2 new pieces of equipment this year and a budgeting for additional equipment in the upcoming year to replace some of our older equipment on this campus. All right, and then our last one, which always seems to be a consistent theme because it's everybody's favorite and most important, and I'm not saying that just because I spent many years in this department, but culinary. So on the HV campus, so I'm hoping everybody knows we have Culinary Ambassador Program, which is similar to our food committee here at Moravian Hall. They have the ambassadors at Heritage Village. So Gareth and the culinary team are going to be working with the ambassadors to do a deep dive into Heritage Village dining program opportunities. So we have started kind of ramping that up. They're going to be looking at some of the options, some of more of what we want, different opportunities to expand and enhance the program over there. At the Moravian Hall Square campus, they've revised the comment card process. So if you go to dinner, instead of just having the comment cards out, I've been told at the end of dinner, they'll ask if you want a comment card. So if so, please fill them out. And they're looking at the nutrition information availability. So they've added some things to the menu. There was discussion about adding different icons, but we've really got a variety of needs, so we don't want to put so many icons on the menu we can't keep up with it. But they are revising and have put out the new nutritional information guide that's available with all the nutrition information for all the information. All right, so that is the overview of the surveys. If anybody at any point wants more detailed information, I would be happy to give you some information. Any questions, just let Mike know and he will forward them to me. So, did I stay under my 10 minutes? I could use a drink today. All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Next, we have Lori Schaefer. She's going to be speaking about new resident move-ins and our census update for both campuses.
Okay, luckily I have my paperwork as well. It's a little dark up here, but I think I can handle it. So I have the honor of introducing all the new residents that have moved in since our last town hall for both campuses, Moravian Hall Square and Heritage Village. I'm going to start with Moravian Hall Square. Thank you. I'm going to start with Ken Nickasher. Ken's right here. And Ken moved into his home, apartment 426, on May the 2nd, and he moved here from the Easton area. Mr. and Mrs. Yaw, Scott and Susan, they're not here today. They're on vacation, lucky them. They moved into their home, apartment 319, on May the 7th, and they had previously lived in Lower Nazareth. Bob and Joan Colonia, I don't believe they're here today. They moved into their home, apartment 334, on May the 10th, and they moved from Milford, New Jersey. Ed and Jillian Bussa, they are here today. Ed and Jillian, you want to wave and stand? Or they moved into their home, apartment 334. Apartment 534 on May the 30th, and they moved also from the long distance of Nazareth. Kathy Sakasit, she moved in, I don't think Kathy is here. Oh, she is. Kathy's here. Hello, Kathy. She moved into her home, apartment 109, on June the 4th, and a little theme here, she's also from Nazareth, Bushgill Township. Jim and Pat Kadira, I saw them. They're in the back. They moved into their home, apartment 301. They moved in on June the 19th, and they moved from their previous home in Easton. Billy Fleck wasn't able to join us. She moved into her home, apartment 204, on June the 25th. She also previously was from the Easton area. And last but not least, for Moravian Hall Square, we have Ginger Ritchie. She moved into her home, apartment 207, Ginger's right there, on June 26th. And she moved from the Palmer Township, Easton area as well. So we welcome all of the Moravian Hall Square, and now I'm going to move to Heritage Village. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan, Jack and Barbara, I don't know if they're here. Okay, we did not see them. Okay, so Jack and Barbara Duncan moved into their home at 410 Independence Way on May the 31st. They moved from the Easton area. Karen Hildebrandt, I know Karen's here. Karen moved in to her home at 311 Constitution Circle on May the 31st. So the Duncans and Karen moved in the same day, it looks. And she's a longtime Nazareth resident. Sandy Paquetto, Sandy's right here also. Sandy moved into her home at 399 Unity Drive on June the 14th. She came from Dumont, New Jersey. Bob and Sherry Barnhart, they're in the back, all the way in the back. They moved into their home at 315 Constitution Circle on July the 1st, and they moved here from Shippensburg. And then John and Sigma Toth right here in the second row. They moved into their home at 349 Constitution Circle on July 24th, and they moved here from Erie, Pennsylvania. And then Tom and Jan Morgenthau, are they here? Okay, don't see them. Okay, they moved into their home at Constitution Circle on July 31st from East Stroudsburg. So that is all of our new residents. So one last round of applause for everybody. We hope that you'll get a chance to say hello and make them all feel welcomed. We know how you all are so welcoming, so we thank you for that. So I was also asked to do a census update at this meeting, so let me gather my notes. I'll be fine. Thank you, though. So I'm going to start with residential living for Moravian Hall Square. So Moravian Hall Square right now have 12 vacancies, and actually that just changed. If you would have asked us that just a few days ago, that would have been 10, but we did have in the last few days a few transitions from independent apartments, so to speak, to other areas of the community. So we're currently have 12 openings with a 91% census, but 5 of those 12 are sold. They have people moving in between September and October. Are we up? Oh, we're up, good. Okay, then for personal care, we're at 97% with 4 available, 92% for memory care, our Galilee House, and then for our nursing care area, we have 5 available with 54 beds occupied and 5, like I said, 5 available. So that wraps up the census for the Moravian Hall Square area. That was census as of yesterday. And now I'll switch to Heritage Village. Thanks, Matt. Okay, Heritage Village. I'll start with phase 1. We are at a 95 up in the right-hand corner. That's phase 1. We're at a 95%. That just has 1 existing cottage that is available. Phase 2 is at 100%. Phase 3 at the bottom is at a 95%, again with just 1 existing cottage available. Phase 4 is at 100%. Phase 5, we have 3, but with 2 move-ins happening, 1 in fall of 2024, just a few months from now, and then 1 with a move-in date of 2025. And then there is 1 existing cottage that we need to secure. And then phase 6, obviously, is under construction, and all lots have been secured with the exception of 1. So that is the census for both Moravian Hall Square and Heritage Village. I thank you. I feel like we should pass the baton with all the Olympics.
And I'm glad the slides came up because I don't have my hard copies. But I'm filling in for Molly Santee today. I'm Sue Capabianco, and I wanted to give you a quick update on the foundation. And so basically, Molly launched a Parents' Day appeal that took place over Mother's Day and Father's Day this year. It was something she did very quickly and had some really great results with. So thank you for all of those who contributed. Secondly, we did host our Morningstar Living Golf Classic. It was originally scheduled for May the 9th, I believe. We got rained out, and luckily we were able to secure a rain date, and the 31st of May proved to be a beautiful day. So that was a huge event and a great success. And then, of course, that we generated money from not only golfers and the raffles and the baskets that many of you put together to raffle, but we had donations and sponsorships that netted us about $30,000 after all expenses were paid. So that was a great event. And then we did our annual Rockathon, which of course one of our beloved residents started many years ago, and his name was Vic Peckenschneider. I know a lot of you know him. But it's been a beloved event that everybody participates in, especially, look at this guy here in the middle. Very patriotic, right? And that's how you dress on the pickleball court too, right? But basically, that was a huge event too for us and very, very successful. So thank you so much for all of you who participated, not only in the rocking, but all of the festivities that surrounded the event. So just to give you an idea of the net, $6,200 from the Parents' Day appeal, $30,000 net from the Golf Classic, and $13,500 from the Rockathon. So that was a great success, a great start to the beginning of this year. And I want to mention to you, because many of you have asked over the years how you can help some of our students as it relates to their future plans for college and technical school training. And I wanted to make you aware, we did publish something in the Hall Circular recently about our Employee Scholarship Fund. This is a way you can help our students. You can encourage them to apply because it's very easy, and they get some of the funds from the foundation that raises money for the Employee Scholarship Fund. I know Eric Snyder, who started with us in culinary services, received numerous scholarships over the years through this fund, which really helped him financially afford his college and his degree from Penn State University in marketing. And of course, he became an intern with us, and then we later hired him. So it's truly a success story. And Lisa Wadecki as well in community fun and engagement. So she's benefited, but I will tell you, many, many employees have benefited from this fund. So as you talk to the students who you become connected to and love and work with and see in our culinary, housekeeping, wherever they work, encourage them to apply for this scholarship because it's very easy to get. And then I want to make you aware on Molly's behalf of the upcoming largest fundraiser event that we host, and that's our Harvest of Friends event. This year, we are so honored to have as our guest speaker, Lauren Hobart, who is the president and CEO at Dick's Sporting Goods. And Lauren is actually the daughter-in-law of one of our own Moravian Hall Square residents, who is Joan Hobart. So we're really looking forward to this event. We hope you'll come out and join us on the 24th of October. And then last, I just want to mention that our fall semester of life is kicked off officially. You should be getting your communication relative to signing up. I know everything is already out on the system for it, so you can sign up, but also you'll be getting a mailer that shows all of the courses that we're offering for this semester. So thank you, and I will see you at the happy hour. I think I qualified for a drink, right?
Thanks, Sue. The next topic that we're going to speak about is the Bethany House Project, which is a strategic project that we have had in process since approximately 2019. It got put on hold at the time due to COVID, but what we're looking to do is change and reconvert our rooms up in the Bethany House, which we have 33 suites, and personal care is above our health center. So if you know where our health center is, it's directly above, and there's 33 private suites there that all have half bath accommodations. What we're looking to do is prepare the infrastructure in all of the suites, which are all 33, for personal showers. So the ones that we're adding showers to first are going to be on the Whitfield House side, which is the Whitfield Suites, which is on the right-hand side when you come off the elevator. We are going to renovate all the suites and the common areas, and we're doing flooring, carpeting, lighting, ceiling grids, and so forth. So in what we're doing first is the first 8 suites, which is the first 2 phases. We're doing 4 suites at a time. They're taking place between September 16th and November 21st. So the construction company will be here on site beginning on September 3rd, bringing in dumpsters, materials, and pods to get ready for the preparations and mobilize for the September 16th construction date. So the 4 residents living in those accommodations will be relocated to another suite on the personal care floor on the opposite neighborhood while we make those renovations. Then we'll be moved back, and then when the second phase starts, those 4 people will go to those accommodations and so forth. We figure then the other 6 phases would be from January 6th of 2025 until approximately July 31st. So as you see, there's going to be 7 more rooms in Whitfield that will get showers, and then the other 17, which are on the Hampton side, they're not getting showers immediately. We're just putting the infrastructure in, but we will be redoing the entire room. and with new toilets, new cabinetry, and so forth. The reason being is then that will provide us with more opportunity in the future. If we want to install showers, see how it works on the one side, we can, or we may decide that we don't want to go forth with showers, but we'll have the plumbing there just in case. So it gives us more opportunity and flexibility in the future on how we utilize those rooms. And then the last part of the phase is August 4th through the 18th of September. We're going to just have punch list items and final touches. If there's things that need to be looked at and so forth. So it's a 12 to 13 month project. So as you see, 8 phases, 2 in 2024, 6 in 2025. 5 weeks per phase. And then 1 week of that 5 weeks, it will affect the healthcare rooms directly below. Reason being is we're going to have to do some mechanical and plumbing there to accommodate the showers above. So we'll be relocating those rooms or not placing them in service at that time for approximately a week. We're working with RLPS. They're the architectural firm. They're out of Lancaster. They helped develop the plans and got them approved through the Department of Health. And the construction company that we're utilizing for this project, their name is CMG of Easton. And CMG of Easton has been on this campus for multiple projects. They helped with the truss system of the main administration lobby a few years back when we had to redo that whole structure. They've done the barn at the Heritage Village where the maintenance guys are working out of. They had that project. And they've done some enhancements in the pleasure gardens by putting up railings, helped with the pond restoration and so forth. They worked, one of the reasons we selected them is because we've worked with them before, but they've also worked with at St. Luke's Hospital and other retirement communities that they know that census is key. We want to continue with our census and work with us to meet schedules so that way we can continue with having revenue sources. Here's what one of the showers would look like in the actual Whitfield house. And what we're doing is we're actually placing the shower in the bathroom, but relocating the sink to the outside of the room next to the bathroom door. So the bathing area would have a shower and a toilet, and the sink would be located actually in the accommodation on the Whitfield side. The Hampton side, it's still going to be having a sink and a toilet in the room, but if we decided to put the shower there, then we'd relocate the sink into the room in Vanity. So as I said, renovation of all Bethany suites with new cabinetry, flooring, wall and trim, and painting. Some of the selections that we picked are already currently in our healthcare unit, so it helps then when we have to replace items and so forth. We don't have to have a surplus of all these different materials. We have the same. Same with light fixtures and so forth. If you get off the actual Bethany or get onto the actual Bethany floor, there's a nurse's station right when you come off the elevator. That will be eliminated, and it'll sort of be what we have in the healthcare skilled nursing unit, an open sitting area with a TV and such. So a lot of the residents there now will gather, so we're just making it more open, more homey, and we'll have nice cozy furniture there for them to sit at. So here's the phased approach, and as you said here, phase 1 is on the bottom right. That's Whitfield House. Those are the first 4 accommodations that will have renovations done. Then we're moving across the hall for phase 2, and then phase 3, and then 4, and so on. And on the other side, that's where they're going to have just the toilet and the sink replacement and the room renovation. The showers will not be installed there immediately, but that's phases 5, 6, 7, and 8. The middle area there is part of phase 8, where they'll be removing the nurse's station and making improvements to the actual spa, where there's a tub there. We're making some renovations in that area as well. So their work is going to be Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Fridays, they're going to be doing quiet work or getting catch up for the next week to make sure that the next trade is ready to do and move forward. Major construction will be halted during the holidays. So from the 22nd of November to January 5th, they're not going to be doing any loud and noisy work. It's all going to be soft improvements. So it might be carpet installation, painting walls, such, doing work to the corridor areas, most likely. And the final piece to this is we've communicated this to staff, and now we'll be communicating this to residents that are living in Bethany House, as well as their responsible parties and family members, to let them know what we're doing and how it's going to affect them. So we have 2 meetings scheduled for August 27th at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. for them to see what we're doing. Next, I'm going to pass it off to Mike then for a Heritage Village update.
Thank you. So I'm going to talk about phase 5 and 6 and just give you a general update of where we're at a little bit further past what Lori had already talked about with census. And, you know, just going past this slide, I have a visual. So in phase 5, all cottages, all construction is finished. There is only one cottage right here that is left to be occupied, minus the model, and that'll be done by August, September time frame that last one will be moving in for this year. And then we have some warranty work that's going to be happening with the landscape this fall. And that comes down to trees that are on the Constitution Circle green, some other areas around landscape beds, and some drainage in this back section here between 5 and 6. And the last piece that we would see as far as some landscape and movement of material is the goal from our site contractors is that they will get this walking trail paved yet this year. So that is a short-term goal for the rest of the season in phase 5. The other thing for those who are living up in that area and have used it already, but we've had some issues with our brand new fire pit. Unfortunately, it is just due to a design, in my opinion, a design flaw, where there's a weep hole for the rainwater to migrate through and get down into a drain. Well, that weep hole directly underneath it is the control box of the unit. So I won't use names. Someone came up and used the fire pit and it stopped working. Listen, you're calling yourself out. No, I'm kidding. So it stopped working one night, unfortunately, when it was being utilized, and basically a piece broke, so we had that fixed. But before we really open it fully again, we really want to get it fully fixed so that we don't have this continuous problem going forward. So we are working on that. Hopefully that can be resolved within the next few weeks as far as movement of the control box. And we're then looking to get someone to fabricate a permanent top that can be placed on there to divert any rainwater. But it also has to be able to be picked up and lifted by those using it. So it can't be something that's heavy duty, hard to move, or else then no one will ever use it. So we are working on that permanent solution. And I wanted to give an update on this plunge pool. So in the very back corner of the property in phase 5 along the tree line, we have a natural rain garden where all that rainwater collects and then infiltrates into the soil through a designated amount of time that the soil is collaborated with sand and dirt. So, but right beyond that is this spillover drain pool that's supposed to also catch runoff water from the neighboring properties and our property, so that it doesn't necessarily flood an area or go off into the neighbor's property, which is the woods. It's all zoning, so it's all has to be there. So it was collecting water, holding water, and that was the overall concern. July 22nd, we had a separate contractor come in and resolve that problem with an underground French drainage system. So that water is no longer sitting in that plunge pool, and we planted new grass seed in there. So that problem has been resolved. I put an most recent updated picture of phase 6. So I just wanted to give you a brief update of what's happening up there with our construction. Lori had talked about all units are secured. So we have 8 cottages that are currently under construction. As you can see, they all have walls, windows, and roofing. And we are also, 7 of the 8 have already started the interior mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. 5 of the 8 have already started the selections or the finishes. So we are moving along very quickly. And interesting enough, the last 2 units over here that are being built, one of those is going to be one of the first ones moved into this year yet. So we're moving along quickly. The contractors are in the process of moving materials so that they can continue navigating, because as they build, they're going to build this way and come right around in a U fashion. This is the home on West Bile that is not leaving, and we are building around them. So they get to see all of our construction happening on a regular basis. So that is my phase 6 update. Here's where that walking trail was going to go, and also just to give you an understanding, that walking trail will continue right along the west property and continue around, navigate down West Bile, and it'll actually connect back this way. It'll come around that property and connect back in. So a lot going on. You're going to see a lot happening in the course of the next few months. But the nice thing is there's an end in sight, right? So for those who moved into phase 1, you probably never thought you'd get rid of that mountain that was in your center green, but you did. We just moved it right here. So eventually that will go. All right, good. Right. So as I mentioned, so all of this is going to be in consecutive order, wrapping around. They're going to start doing foundations and everything over here. Some might be the end of this year, but most will start in the spring of 2025. So I don't have those dates in my head right now, though. But it's continuous all around here. So you're going to see something happening from now all the way till the end of 2025. So next on our list.
I just wanted to make one more comment. We are in this room making some modifications to the sound system. So we just spent a good deal of money to upgrade the sound system and the technology, and we're still working through that. That's why we're having some issues today. But I did close off this room from August 30th through September 1st. We are also doing all of the lighting, redoing all of the lighting, and then that will end this refurbishment of this room that we've been doing for about a year and a half. But I just wanted to make people aware of that as well.
Sure. And since we made a brief adjustment, I'll also offer one for this campus. Next weekend, it's the 17th and 18th, I think it is. We do a seal coating and reline striping of the parking lot every year. We do a different section. Because of the Bethany project, we would have done the parking lot that is like when you first come in the main entrance to the left under the underpass, which is more of our healthcare area. That would have been next on the list. We're foregoing and pushing that one to the following year. We're going to be doing down at the end of our property towards the Moravian Historic District from the Galilee entrance, and it will wrap around to the back pavilion area. So that will be our area. We will put a notice in the hall circular, as it is all weather dependent, so we'll have a final answer by next week if it's looking still positive for us to move forward with that. I'm going to invite Doreen and Pam up to discuss, well, I guess Doreen first to talk about the volunteer opportunities.
Hi, I do have my notes. Could you? Sure. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about volunteer engagement and what's the purpose. Well, the purpose is improving an individual's well-being while promoting community engagement through service and volunteering. So let's take a look at the historical update on volunteering here at MHS. Pre-COVID, we had many residential volunteers, both in personal care and in healthcare. And obviously, COVID hit, and our numbers drastically decreased. Actually, volunteering came to a screeching halt. Post-COVID, CFE was to rebuild our volunteer program. So 2 years ago, CFE would develop and execute a volunteer recruitment and training initiative to re-engage all of our volunteers with opportunities in personal care and health care and in memory care. Now, over the past year and a half, we have brought on 35 new volunteers. Additionally, more than 100 of our existing volunteers have now completed the state-required volunteer orientation for the very first time. That's a wonderful thing. If you don't already know, I'm Doreen Connolly. I've been promoted to the Assistant CFE Assistant Director. Thank you. And in one of my new roles is to this initiative. With the assistance of Ms. Carol McCandless, Carol is involved with me in the recruitment. She also assists with volunteer orientation, managing the placement of our volunteers, and communicating with our volunteers. My role is providing a focus, a direction, and the accountability of the volunteers. So why would you want to volunteer? Well, studies have shown there are many physical, emotional, and social benefits to volunteering. One such study is from the University of Duke, and they found individuals who volunteered after a cardiac-related incident reported reductions in depression and other symptoms and increased their longevity. So volunteering not only increases a beautiful sense of value and purpose, it decreases isolation by meeting new people, promotes healthy lifestyle habits, builds confidence, and you just might get to learn a new skill. We have a multitude of volunteer opportunities here at MHS and Morningstar Living. These opportunities would include our neighborhood events. In personal care and in health care, volunteers can volunteer as a health care or personal care helper. Volunteers in these areas can also pass out water, deliver mail, read to, and enjoy the friendly company of our residents. And the special events are amazing. You can help with Valentine's Day, Peach Festival, Mardi Gras, Beach Day, and the list goes on. Now, we can't forget about MHS. Our many house events include more than 25 wonderful Christmas concerts, which is coming up, and also our special events. And they can include Grandparents' Day coming up next month, Casino Day this month, Finnegan's Wake, who didn't like that, Kentucky Derby, Rockathon, the men's pancake breakfast. I think we have our champion here right now. And more than 30 other wonderful events. So, if you are a resident, you have a special or creative skill, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have you share that talent with everyone else on your terms and your time. Let me give you an example. I have a wonderful helper right here, Mrs. Bonnie Kern from MHS. She came to me with a wonderful idea. I'd like to do a light exercise class. I thought it was amazing. So I helped her set it up. And right now, she has one of the most popular fitness classes. I think I feel hurt, Bonnie. But if you haven't been, go. She's wonderful. She also keeps busy by running a Bible class in healthcare. And she co-runs another Bible class here at MHS with HV participants as well. Do you know there's about 30 people in that class? How wonderful is that? Volunteers can also help out in the Good Spirits gift shop. They can help out in the offices with their clerical abilities. Let me give you another example. Miss Susan Scheschler of HV. Her and Miss Jane Albert both volunteered their organizational skills just a couple weeks ago to help with the satisfaction survey in healthcare. Our staff, Kara in particular, was thrilled. I got a wonderful phone call from her thanking us for Sue and Jane and their help. So use your organizational talents within the offices and the Good Spirit gift shop. Utilize your knowledge to help make our community beautiful. Get involved with the beautification. Also, you can also assist with the bees. We need labels. We got to get the labels on the jars. Nothing is too small and nothing is too big. So, let's meet these new challenges. Use your talents to help support your community on your terms and on your time. How do we get started? It all starts by filling out an application. Where can you find the application? The applications are available online or at the front desk. When you complete the application, you can return it to the front desk or scan it and email it to Miss Carol McCandless. We'll take it from there. After you go through your orientation, you're ready to start volunteering. The orientation takes as little as an hour. You're going to want to track your hours because we value our volunteers. We provide a lunch for them in April. And at that lunch, it's catered by our Rose Inn dining hall. It's a beautiful lunch. We have prizes, and it's wonderful. Then what we do is we honor our volunteers. Remember those tracked hours I was telling you about? Well, the reason why we track you is because we want to know. We kind of make it a little competition. Who had the most hours? And we honor you at that lunch. So, get involved. Help us help you stay healthy, engaged, and begin volunteering today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Doreen. So we've gotten to our question and answer section of the town hall, and what I wanted to do was just precursor how this came about. So obviously, you know, we've all been to town halls, and for some of you, this is your first one, but we've had town halls that have gone, 3 hours. And we were trying to provide you with informational update from us to let you know what's going on at both campuses. We commingled this year. It's been working out very well. The other piece that's been working out very well is the question and answer. So we created an online document on the My Morning Star app that you could go on and submit your question, and those questions are submitted and then reviewed and then answered today. And the nice piece is, you know, sometimes you get questions, sometimes you get statements. You know, and sometimes the statements are more related to specific needs, desires, or want at that point in time. And for instance, this time around, we actually received a few statements and made either an immediate correction or had an immediate conversation based on what it was based on. However, we did get a lot of positive questions that we want to address today, and we're going to start that now. I have them printed on here, and we're going to have different staff members answer those questions. That was the other reason. Sometimes when you sit in a meeting of this nature and you get a spontaneous questions, we may not have the answer for you right now. Or we need to get information from a contractor if it's based around a project. But there's always many things that are happening. There's so many moving targets. There's so many different areas that are happening all at one time. So we want to be able to provide you with an accurate, updated information and answer to those questions. So we developed it. It's been working out well. And like I said, we got a really great response this time around. So the first few questions, I'm going to bring Doreen and Pam up, and they're going to review and answer those questions for us today.
So the question is, we feel that there are fewer arts and crafts events held at HV due to staffing changes in CFE. How will CFE address this issue? And we're concerned that when cooler weather arrives and the outdoor activities are reduced, we will lose the quantity and quality of programming. So the answer is that our department, CFE staff, is chock full of creative staff who are more than happy to showcase their talents with you. In fact, Doreen has just scheduled Christina Barsick from Galilee to come and share her beautiful, I have to pronounce this, Kintsugi. Did anyone ever hear of that? Kintsugi craft idea, and that is scheduled for October. In addition to that, we have hex signs, pumpkin crafts, monthly card making. In fact, sign up for the serving tray craft scheduled for this month is happening now. And fun fact, the trays were created for us, put together by our very own gentlemen in our woodworking club. And I want to thank them for all of their hard work and dedication and craftsmanship. Another wonderful craft idea that will be coming to the calendar will be presented by Bridget McGinn of Healthcare. And she will be sharing intergenerational craft with you. So I invite you to sign up and explore these talents. Part 2 of this question, going forward into the fall, September alone, has a wine festival at the Lehigh Valley Zoo, a John Denver tribute concert, grounds for sculpture in New Jersey, and our weekly entertainment, dining out, Grandparents' Day, and much more. We're currently working on getting the Nazareth High School pep rally here again. If any of you haven't seen that, that's a wonderful event. And the Alzheimer's Walk at the Steel Stacks, we have a team, and that is on September 21st, and we hope that everyone joins us in that walk to support MSL and show the Lehigh Valley what we're made of. So join our team. And that's all for that question.
Okay, let me address this one. All right, so misinformation. I would please ask that on your electronic devices, you turn on your notifications. You might need help with that, and that's okay. We have a wonderful IT help department. They can help you turn your notifications on in your app. This is very important. You might not be getting the most current and up-to-date information if those notifications aren't on. So let me give you an example. We had an issue June 11th, and it was with the Pioneer Band. They canceled on us 5 days before the event. This was an RL event. We could not cancel that. We had to scramble, both Pam and Amy, to try and find another band. Now, as you might know, these bands, they are booked months ahead of time. So when this happens, it's a disaster. So we sent out on the app this message on June 11th. Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, the Pioneer Band has canceled the appearance for this Saturday. Luckily enough, we were able to secure the Allentown Municipal Band on such short notice. All other details remain the same. We are sure that the Allentown Municipal Band will be just as enjoyable. Now, I printed something out, and this is what leads me to believe your notifications might not be on. So you might not be getting the correct, up-to-date change that you might see on the calendars and in the hall circular, because things changed. So I see here 180 people read that message. I also see 152 did not. And that could be because your notifications weren't on. Please put those on so that way you can get correct, reliable, sustainable information, because we do use that a lot, okay? Also, to that end, yes, so in the app, the notification is a message, and you'll get a flash on your phone. It'll make a noise sometimes, or you'll see it on your home screen, and you know in that app you have a message. All you have to do is click on it, and it will open up and tell you what just happened, okay? I send them out a lot for the pool. So if you've ever seen Roseanne the Thunderstorms, can't go in the pool, you will get them, okay? Also, let me address the multiple activity statement. I'm going to take full responsibility for this. This was my mistake and my mistake to own, and I do apologize for that. So let me give you a little bit what happened. The Peach Festival was planned for PC, Healthcare, and Galilee. The girls were doing such a wonderful job, they opened it up to the IL residents. I opened this in the RL resident, figuring there might be people not planning to come, and this would be an option for them. I did not realize that there was a promise made not to do that. Again, I do apologize. It will not happen again. However, as fate would have it, you can have your peaches and eat them too, because they couldn't do the Peach Festival outside. So our department, being resourceful, decorated the carts. As we speak, they are in PC, HC, and Galilee with their carts. And when they're done, when we're done, you can meet them outside at happy hour and go to the Peach Festival via the carts. You too can be peached, just like me. And the pool. This is an age-old question. So in accordance with the Arthritis Foundation, and this is where we like to keep the water temperature, folks who have joint issues can be in a pool between 82 and 86 degrees. On average, our pool is sustaining about 84 degrees, which is perfect. The pool right now is working off the environment, which is even better. But some days it can drop to 82, others it can go as high as 91 degrees. That's not good. That's not good for chlorine. And let me tell you why. Because, one, that water will burn the chlorine. Two, if it burns the chlorine, I have no disinfectant in the pool. That's a big problem. That's why we keep it between 82 and 86. I am aware, I'm sorry. So what we like to do, and especially with the week coming up and the rain, it will drop, all right? But come, I do believe, Monday to about Wednesday or Thursday, we're headed for some higher temperature. When the temperature sustains a lower, like in the 70s, that's when we're typically putting on the heater again to get us jacked back up, okay? But that typically doesn't happen mid-end August and all the way into September until the pool closes. Typically, it is running off the environment right now. Thank you.
Okay, so the next one I'm going to take, because it was directed at Heritage Village, and I basically broke it down to kind of summarize what the question was. And to answer the question, first was referencing when the schedule would be put in place for when mulching would happen. The next piece was trimming and pruning of the plants, shrubs, trees, and then bed maintenance, weeding throughout the campus, around the homes, around the garden areas of the detention basins, all those things. So, I mean, unfortunately, there's not a specific schedule that will break it all down, and as of this week we're going to be here, and then we'll be in this phase and broken out. It's all based on weather. However, the plan that we like to plan around the seasons. So mulching and stoning we look to do between spring and then come back in the fall and do it again. It doesn't mean that we get to each area every season. We do look and see what is in desperate need, and throughout the season of the guys going around cutting grass, they disrupt and hit areas, throw grass into the mulch and stones. So whatever they did in the spring, by the end of the summer, needs to get done again. Shrub and tree pruning, those are designated for spring and summer, or spring and fall mainly. So we can, however, trim some of the things that are around the campus, but we also have to be mindful of the weather. So these 90-degree weeks are not proactively times that you want to trim something, because you're most likely going to kill that shrub. So we have gone through and trimmed everything that we could in phases 3, 4, and part of 2. They are wrapping up and finishing areas that they haven't got to yet in phase 2 and phase 1. And we will be coming back and doing some of the areas in phase 5, because those are all still under warranty. So we have to be mindful of what we trim and how much you trim in the first year that they're planted, or else you run the risk of damaging it. Specifically, I'll use, like when you drive through the campus right now, if you see some of the hydrangeas that are around the benches going around the community, earlier on, phase 1 and 2, it's basically consuming the benches because they're just growing so well. But if we go and we trim those right now, they will not bloom next year. So this fall, we'll be doing a hard trim in a lot of areas. And in fact, we'll actually be most likely contracting. We just started utilizing a local landscape company to do some of this extra work. So that plunge pool I talked about earlier, they're coming back to do another project for us in September. And so we'll probably be utilizing him for some of this other stuff too. Because as we continue to grow and things get more and more mature, you know, the guys are trying to handle as much as they can, but sometimes they get behind because of weather, and we'll continue to have to utilize outside services from time to time. And bed weeding is just an ongoing process. We had quite a few extra pairs of hands this season with some part-time staff that have been helping us out and working. They are high school going into college, and one was already in college and coming back from time to time during the week. So they have been here for the past couple of months. They are going back to school, so those extra hands are leaving us. But they were working by a phase-by-phase approach. However, the weeds, they love the heat. They love the wet weather. They love the dry weather. There's no other weather that they don't love, and they just keep coming back. So it's just going to be an ongoing battle. And the one thing I always like to explain too is the lawn company that we use on both campuses, Natural Lawns of America. When we enter into a new phase and they come and start treating the new phase, they can only do fertilization in the new phase. They can't do a lot of weed preventative maintenance in there because it will damage the roots of the new sod that gets put down. So usually every time a new phase comes on, that takes about a year for us to really try to never eradicate, but really get the weeds under control, especially in the lawn area. And there's things that, you know, our guys are doing too that aren't helping the process. If they cut something too short, or they scalp the grass with a lawnmower because of just, you know, going too fast or just not paying attention. So, you know, there's no perfect solution for anything, right? So they're working through everything, through all areas, and getting to it as fast as they can, and basing it off of the weather. This question came in: when will the directional street signs for Constitution, Freedom, which is in phase 6, and Heritage Circle be installed? So the other piece to these puzzles of when, with timelines, these timelines change every day. And this is my best example. So we talked to our contractors of when these signs could get put up for us. The answer that we received would be by the end of this month. We gave, you know, and they used a time frame of August 23rd. As of today, they were being hung. So you can see how they change day by day. So now Freedom will not be hung in phase 6 area, but we do have new signage that has been going up since we've been here. So feel free to be able to look, and I hope that will help, especially up in the newer phases when we have deliveries coming in, since that, and then new family members coming to visit, because then they can utilize those to help direct up to Constitution Circle.
They use the later date to make themselves look good.
Yeah. This question, ongoing question, we hear this one quite often, but just wanted to provide an update on the timeline of Basin A, which is the stormwater retention basin that is situated between phase 3 and the Borough Park. As of right now, you know, we were trying to start that project this year, but with all the different testing and finding out direction of where we would go or how we could get to it, because the plan is to come off of Porter Street, come in the wetland area to get into the basin. That's the least path of resistance. In order to do that, we need a variance from the Nazareth Borough to allow us to do that, because we have to go on to their property right behind the baseball field. So that involves our lawyer, right? Ted Lewis has been actively helping us through this process. So until that is finalized, there's not a whole lot that we can do as far as like starting it. We are also going through new testing of the soil. So when we entered into this this development, you know, there's all different stipulations that you have to go through. These two basins are basically indicated by the what is it, the DEW or DPW, on what we have to turn it into when the project is finished. And so Basin B, which is behind the townstones, that was able to be done instantly along when it was built to when it was restored. Basin A cannot be converted until phase 6 is over 75% complete, because all of the storm water runs into Basin A from phases 3, 4, 5, and 6. It all goes there. So that's why it isn't any further than where it's at right now. That's also why timing has turned it into what it looks like today. So for those who live there and walk around, you see what you see right now, which is a flourish of trees that naturally found their way into the basin and other things. God knows what else is in there. So, I mean, there's all types of stuff. It's its own little ecosystem. And visually, it's operating perfectly, right? Looks great. We love it. All those things. It can't stay that way, unfortunately. We don't have the luxury of saying, oh, well, we'll just keep it as is. So if you don't change it to what it's supposed to look like, which is Basin B, then there will be very, very heavy fines coming our way. And it's not something that we're interested in entertaining, right? And I'm not talking about, you know, a few $100s in fines. You're talking thousands of dollars of fines, which actually goes back to the start of the project. So, you know, it's not something that we can negotiate or work around. So we will continue to offer updates and provide updates via this meeting, through email communication, through, you know, on the app. You know, we have multiple different avenues to provide that information, and we'll continue to do that with, you know, phase 6 and other things that are happening as well. So I cannot provide like a specific deadline or timeline, but it is actively moving. We will start looking at next year as being the active time that it's going to start getting renovated, because that'll be like one of the last pieces done with Heritage Village, that all does get cleaned out, scraped down, and then the correct fill will go back in so that the water infiltrates into the ground. That's the whole point of it. The water goes in there, sits, infiltrates into the ground instead of finding and navigating its way out, because if we didn't do that, then the Borough Park would get flooded out every time it rained, right? So if anybody has driven past the entrance of the Borough Park on a big rain and you see their water levels as high as you do, that is due to that little natural watershed that comes through our property and makes its way down. So if we don't continue to block all that residual water, it'll make it even worse. Staff directory and updates. So real quick on this one. So the staff directory that we have on the My Morningstar app has to get changed when somebody leaves. And it is something that what ends up happening is when somebody leaves, that information finds its way to our IT department, and then they will take that person out unless the direct supervisor manager does it themselves if they have access to go in there. Most of the time it happens, but sometimes it can slip through the cracks and somebody doesn't get taken out right away. So we would just appreciate if you do see that. If you call the front desk, you can let whoever's at the front desk know, and then they can pass the message along. Could happen for a number of different reasons. Somebody's on vacation, it was just missed. You know, these things can happen from time to time because it is a person who has to go in and take that person's name out of the system. Okay, so if it doesn't happen right away, we do apologize, but if you find it, feel free to call the front desk and then we can get it resolved. This question came up, why do we buy benches for the hallways and outside? Wouldn't chairs with arms be more practical? Would like to see more chairs or chairs outside entrances like we have at the main entrance. So the answer to this that we looked at is, you know, a lot of the benches that we have for outside are memorial benches, right? The teak benches that we have out are donated by families and family members of lost loved ones. So those are what are scattered around the campus. I think we have how many? 71? Yeah, about 70 of them around the campus. You know, we looked at all the entrances and, you know, we did see a combination of rocking chairs, single chairs, and benches at all entrances. Same thing in the hallways. So, I mean, the only thing we can continue to do is look at other opportunities to introduce more chairs when times are needed as we're doing renovation projects, or if we have to replace a bench because it's outlived its life and it's starting to rot because it's teak wood. But I think we look at a lot of the benches, which do have arms on them, by the way, as an opportunity for multiple people to be able to sit together as they're walking around or family members are visiting. So, you know, we try to have a combination of both. So we looked, like I said, we looked around. We didn't feel as though it was, you know, heavy on one end over the other. You know, we definitely have more benches than armed chairs outside. So we can continue to look at how we could add more armchairs into the mix going forward. Parking lot. We painted the stop blocks in Colonial Hall last year, I think it was, at the end of last year, before the winter hit, as a trial. We did this through the Resident Buildings and Grounds Committee here. It was brought up as someone had, I think actually somebody had originally tripped somewhere else on another, somewhere else. So it was brought to us as a potential possibility, and I think we've had people trip on them here before because you're not looking, you're walking to your car, you're not looking at the stop block in front of you. So we said, all right, let's paint them yellow, and then they would stick out more. So we did it as a trial. It worked out well. The consensus is that it was liked, and so the next step was to do the Barony Hall and parking lot, which would be right over here. That is slated to happen late summer. Okay, so
it's a process because we have to move the cars, and that can be a challenge at times as well. So we try to coordinate it with where the people are living and so forth. But we had to go back to the Colonial and Academy one multiple times because cars were there at different times. But they actually pick them up and paint them and then place them back. So it's more of a process. It took us probably a few months to get them all done over on that lot. So the question here is, when will the issue of push plates for the refuge rooms be revisited? So we are in the process of going into a new fiscal year, which would be January of 2025. So if you remember, our fiscal year used to go from July to June. Now we transitioned going from January to December. So this is an area that we usually, any projects and any improvements, we talk about these types of things that can help enhance living for residential living residents in the Resident Building and Grounds Committee. So this past year, this was taken off as one of the needs at the time because they felt that the cost to add this was approximately $6,000 per refuge room, which would be 4 rooms which is $24,000. We felt that there was a different way that they could address this by having neighbors help each other with the trash and so forth, and helping each other. I think it was called the Good Neighbors program, that they would go and help transport the items. So this is an issue or a concern that we can bring up at our next Building and Grounds Committee and see if this is an area of opportunity that we would like to proceed with starting in our next fiscal year. The other question is, can you rearrange the TVs in our skilled nursing rooms so that each person can watch their TV without disturbing their roommate? If you've ever been in one of our private, semi-private rooms, which we have 18 of them, so that's 18 shared accommodations, there's limited wall space where some of these TVs can be placed, because you have a closet, a bathroom door, and then the other side of the room is where there's wall space. So in most of the rooms, there's TVs that we hung next to each other, which, yes, it's not the most ideal, but that's the only way at this point you could have the TV hung in those locations. What we are trying to do to help with that is we are looking at options for headphones. However, they can't be wireless because it would still connect with the other person's TV. So we looked at a wired option, which we had a company called Audio Video come out and actually test run one of the rooms, which it did work, but it was about $1,000 to do that. So in order for that, if you did it on each of these rooms, you're looking at an $18,000 investment. So at this point, we're still looking at if that's the best option moving forward, or if there's another way to make TV viewing differently. But it's a challenge. The rooms are not large in size, and if you have two individuals in those rooms, it's kind of hard on where you would place the TVs.
The next question that came up was, when are you going to see the results of the surveys we turned in the spring? An hour ago. All right. Next one, Sue.
So the question is, can you look into the possibility of getting a dialysis center here at Moravian? We are in the process of doing, okay. We're in the process of doing a feasibility study around this issue. We started this with Michelle Denisi. I think all of you now are aware that Michelle has been out, and we don't know yet when she's coming back, but we are continuing to do some of the research that she started. One of the concerns we have, and really it speaks to the biggest issue that we face in this entire organization right now, is our healthcare workforce. Because there's a tremendous training issue for healthcare providers to provide this type of service. And so we struggle even today. As I speak, we have 15 openings right now in our skilled nursing facility for positions that have not yet been filled. So we are working on it. We will bring it to resolution, and when we do, I will be happy to report back on it.
Thank you. And our last question that came up, we're going to bring up Joan Haynes to talk about health and wellness charges.
Hello. So for those of you who don't know me, especially our Heritage Village residents, my name is Joan Haynes. I'm an LPN, and I work in our residential living wellness office with Michelle Denisi, Anne-Marie Mariano, and Mary Werkheiser. So the question was, what will be charged $1 per minute? That's a great question. It's a question that needs clarification, not only for you, but it also needed clarification for our staff. So I want to thank Sue and Chris Hunt for giving me that clarification. And I thought the best way to do that was to give you some examples of some billable and non-billable charges. So first, this will be our billable $1 per minute. So when residents come into our office for wound care, frequently it's one of the most common things we see in our office, skin tears. When residents also go to a dermatologist, they come in for dressing changes. Just so you know, the supplies will be included in this fee, except if it's something that our nurse practitioner, our wound care specialist suggests for you, then that might be a billable charge. Residents come in for B12 injections. Any residents who need any type of tubing, drains flushed, frequent medical management. That would be, for an example, somebody who comes to our office or we need to go to their apartment for help with calling their doctors, calling for tests, frequent reminders, somebody that actually might need to move to our next level of care but remains in their apartment. When we set up portable x-rays, Dopplers, if a resident will be coming to our office for COVID testing, flu testing with the upcoming winter season, and RSV testing, or if your doctor orders, you know, those tests that we have to go up to you, or you come down and we need to swab and send that out to the lab. Eardrops, eye drops, wellness visits to apartments, that differs from emergency response. An example of a wellness visit would be, hey Joan, can you come up to my apartment? I'm not feeling well. I got nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Or, you know, I'm just not feeling well. So we go up to your apartment, you know, we get vital signs. Maybe we'll do a COVID test. So it's when we're going up to your apartment. Residents frequently come into our office to pay bills or to make calls for, I got this bill, can you, I don't know what to do with it. Can you please call? And you know, a lot of times you're doing those calls and you're put on hold, you know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You know what it's like, you're going through it. Transporting to physical therapy and hairdressers. Residents that can no longer do the journey from Colonial, or they're just, for whatever reason, they ask us to take you to those places. That unfortunately now will be a billable service. So those are some examples for billable services, and just so you know, these will not go into effect until October 1st, okay? This actually came about because it was something new on the guide to the service fees. If you look under the wellness, it does say $1 per minute. So now we'll move to the non-billable. So some examples of non-billable are emergency response. You know, you had a fall, you push your pendant, you're having chest pain, you push your pendant, you don't have your pendant, you don't know where it is, you call the front desk, they page us, and then we run up to your apartment. You know, your routine visits to our office for blood pressure checks, we're not gonna charge for that. You know, doing all the laboratory setups, the reminders, doing appointments for your audiologist, not billable, handling all the therapy, PT, OT, speech consults, Medicare Part D enrollment. Michelle was a big part of that. It's when open enrollment comes around and she meets with you to see if she can get you a cheaper plan for your scripts. Transfers from our healthcare and the hospital back to your apartment. So that's when we come get you, or you just come back from the hospital and we help you go over your discharge instructions. Many, many times you come back from healthcare and they give you the discharge instructions with a list of medicines. We just make sure that you know what you're doing, because very, very frequently your medicines will change. Residents do not understand that. They just think, I'm gonna go back to whatever I was doing before I went to the hospital. You really have to look at your discharge instructions. So we help you do that. If we have to pull your medicines out of the cabinet, we'll do that. Make sure your labels are right and you know what you're doing. Assistance with transitions to personal care, memory care, or are skilled. So that's when, you know what, it's really time that we need to unfortunately transfer to another level of care. We'll meet with you, we'll meet with your families, we'll tell you all the options, we'll give you tours. They're not going to charge for anything like that. And assistance with your hearing aids. Residents frequently come into our office to have their filters changed and their caps changed. So those are some examples. It is not a comprehensive list. I hope you know we are going to work with anybody if they have any questions, and Anne-Marie and I do not have the answers. We'll get the answers for you, whether it's a billable or non-billable service. Okay, so I hope those examples, you know, helped.
Great.
And I am the last presenter.
Yeah. Thank you, Joan. So we do appreciate everyone for all your time today. One quick announcement that I was asked to just bring to the group's attention. One on the app. So if you go on the app, so obviously everybody was around to get the honey sales, which went over extremely well on both campuses that we pulled from our apiary in July. We had over 300 pounds of honey that we were able to bottle up and then sell to the community. And then we were also able to get cassettes of cut comb honey. So I don't know who's familiar with cut comb honey, but it's basically a raw product that the bees create and put into these little plastic containers. And there's so many health benefits to eating it, especially if you have a tickle in your throat. You cut a little piece off and you put it on that, and then it drips down. It's fantastic. So we opened it up to a lottery system because there are only 25 cassettes to be able to sell, and we could have more than 25 people interested. So if you go on to the My Morningstar app and you go into the search and just type in cut comb honey, it'll bring up the section where you can put your name in to be part of that lottery. And once you're in there, you were asked to sign up between August 5th and August 12th. So that time is rapidly coming to a close if you haven't done so far. So you don't want to miss out. So just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Along with the My Morningstar app, our presentation has been uploaded onto the app. And I have it in two locations. I have it in the HV Forms module for those at Heritage Village. And for those here, it's in MHS forms. So knowing today, it's hard to see that. You could go back and look at the information at your leisure when you're upstairs. You can go on to watch this video of the town hall again after you leave here, because I can see you are all super excited. You're overstimulated. You need to all calm down. Okay, you're getting out of control. We might have to cancel happy hour, okay? So, no. But again, what's that? Oh, I'm sorry. We don't take questions or comments during the program, but thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you very much, everyone. You will find happy hour out in the hall that Culinary is putting on for us. Thank you very much for coming.